Hey, what's up guys? This is Matt. Today I'm going to run through some character rigging with you guys. Um, I'm new to the tutorial game. This is actually my first ever tutorial, so apologies if the audio is not very good or if there's just general mistakes throughout this video. It's naturally not going to be great first off. But anyways, yeah, today I'm gonna show you a character rig I've been playing with recently. Um, Character design is something that's really difficult to do, and I'm not in any way saying I'm a master because I'm really bad at this stuff. But I've built a rig here which I feel is pretty good. It gives you a lot of control, and yeah, they're not the easiest things in the world to do. So, anyways, yeah, this is a little GIF I built, just running a few tests, like a quick little expression I played with and a walk cycle. Yeah, here, take a look at this. So yeah, this isn't like advanced stuff because, as I said, I'm not the best character animator at all, far from it, but I'm practicing and I thought this rig was quite cool, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. So yeah, I'm going to start by showing you how to sort of prepare the layers in Illustrator, and then we'll jump into After Effects. So let's start with Illustrator, here we go. Alright, so this is my character so far. As you can see, it's quite similar to the GIF. There's some weird like overlapping going on and stuff, but that's because of my layers here. So this is the layers panel. What I've done really is, if I sort of hide the layers as I go, you can see what they are. So there's like a sort of hair layer by itself with a shadow underneath it. There's a side of the hair. This is the hair shadow. So basically I've split loads of elements up so we can control them as individual parts and rig it all in After Effects. So this is basically all of the elements for the little face I've built here. He has got eyes, it's just hid underneath this eyelid layer, and I've made the collar separate so that I'll explain that later on. And then we've got like a sort of torso, an arm at the back. The hands are separate, and I've made these. If I do it on the front hand quickly, you'll see there's these little like nubbins here. If I zoom in, these are basically built for rotation. So if I press Command Y here, you can see we've got this little shape, a circle. And then if I turn the hand back on, this is also, hang on, if I unlock this layer, if I move this, this also has the same circle and it's perfectly lined up. So what we can do is, in After Effects, we'll break it up and then we can make sure we're rotating from the exact pivot point, which will make really nice hand movements effortlessly, really. So yeah, we'll jump into After Effects and then I'll start to show you how to rig this all together, basically. Alright, I'm just going to load up After Effects here. So first of all, you want to double click on your project panel and find the document you're looking for. So mine's in Designs, Tutorials, Character Rig. Alright. First of all, we're going to select Retain Layer Sizes. What this basically does is when you import an Illustrator file, it will use the layer system that we built already in Illustrator, which is amazing. So let's bring that in. And if we double click on this composition, it will open it up. So here we go. This looks exactly the same as what it was in Illustrator, and we're ready to go, basically. First of all, what I'm going to do is quickly make a pre-comp of all of our layers, which are for the head. So it's all of this stuff. So if you select it all here, right click, and you can go to pre-compose. I'm just going to name this head. And then what I'm going to do now is start to rig this body. I'm going to start with the torso. If you click this little checkbox here, you can solo things, which is really good. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a plugin called Duik, which is free, I believe. I will have links in the project description. for you to go ahead and download this. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to build like some shoulders, a sort of middle point for the spine movement, and some hips. So with this puppet tool, which you get up here, just plot 3 pins starting from the top. So we got shoulders, spine, and torso. And then in the mesh down here, if you open up the deform properties, you've got the 3 pins. So what you can do with Duik now is if you select the 3 pins and then go to Duik, which is I've got in this docked over here, we're going to build some bones off of these guys. So what this does is basically writes an expression for us telling these pins to link to these new puppet control, these new null objects, which we'll use to control. So if I select this null, it just bends the pin. But the beauty of this, it gives us a null now, so we can link things to the nulls, which you wouldn't have been able to link to the pins before. So it gives you good control. So anyway, so now we're going to start to rename these. So this one we're going to call shoulders, if I can spell properly. And then this one is spine, and we'll call this one hips. Annoyingly, this repositions everything, but if you just move it back down in the right order, and then if we lock the artwork layer so it doesn't get deformed. So now what we're going to do now is link. I like to move things from the hips, so the hips sort of drive the movement. So you have to work down, like the spine, the shoulders are connected to the spine, which is connected to the hips. So now if we move the hips, they follow, and then you can move the shoulders and spine individually, and you get some nice bends in the shape, which is amazing for character movements. But anyways, we won't do that, and we'll unshine these layers. Another thing we're going to quickly do is color coordinate the layers as well, so you can visually see later on. I'm going to make these yellow and lock the torso again. So that's basically the start of the rig. Now we're going to go to, we'll do the front leg and the front shoe. So again, we're going to shy these layers. You've got these here. We'll start with the leg. What we're going to do again is we're going to put 3 points in. So this one is going to be our sort of thigh area, which will connect to the hips, and then this will be our knee, and down here is going to be our shin and sort of ankle. So again, we're going to go to the deform properties in the mesh, and we're going to make bones out of those. I'm going to quickly call this hips F, which is going to stand for hips front, because this is the front leg. And then we're going to call this knee F for the front knee, and finally shin F. Again, we're going to just quickly reposition this in the right order. We're going to color these to cyan. Let's go for that. So now we're going to lock the artwork again for the foot, and now we're going to add a few more pins to the shoes so we can get some nice control of our foot as well. So again, put about 3 in it. So I'm going to put 1 where the ankle would be, the sort of rotation point. This is like the base of the foot, I guess, and here for the toes. Again, open the mesh, come down, select your puppet, and make some bones. So what we're going to do is call this one ankle, F for front, and base F, and finally toes F. And then we'll reposition this by the shoe. We'll lock the artwork, and actually no, first we're going to make this cyan as well. So all of our front leg is in cyan. And actually I'm going to move the shoe down there, and if you click these little icons, these are called shy layers, so then we can select this and it removes them from our little layers panel here. So you don't have them cluttering up your screen. So anyways, back to, we're going to have to parent all these layers so then we can start to make a chain and make it move like an actual leg. So first of all, we'll start with the, let's reposition these so these are underneath. So we go hips, knee, shin, ankle, base and toes. So we'll link upwards, so the toes will link to the base of the foot, the base of the foot links to the ankle is now going to link to the shin, the shin goes to the knee, which I've just realized I've spelled wrong. It's double E, not double N, to the knee, and the knee goes to the hips. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build like a driving controller for the legs. So we want to basically just move one position and it all follows. So what we're going to do is the shin layer will be what controls how we move this layer. So what you do is you select the shin layer and make a controller. So if we move this just here quickly, so then what you want to do is you select from the shin, holding command, you select the knee, the hips and the controller, and you create an IK. What this does is called inverse kinetics, and it kind of builds a bone structure so we can just move one layer and all the others will react. It will become clearer when I do this. So if we click OK now, if I zoom out, we've got a rig, and then if we grab our shin controller, we can move this, and as you can see the knee starts to bend. And the beauty of Duik as well is it gives you stretch, so you can stretch the layers and you can get like the old school Disney techniques of squash and stretch, which is hard to achieve, but yeah, this works really well. So as you can see, we've got quite a lot of cool control with this, and the knee's responsive, so that's awesome. Yeah, but then we've got these, so basically we're going to control the leg movement with this controller, and then any adjustments we need to do in a walk cycle, for example, like if you're in the up position, the foot kind of gets all crumpled up, and same with the contacts and stuff. So then you've got these individual toe layers which you can edit just the shoe, so you can get some nice movement with the shoe whilst moving the leg as well, like individually. So it basically gives quite a lot of control. So then if we unshy these, oh sorry, hang on, I need to get to my shy layers and unsolo these as well. We've gone ahead and rigged the foot and the torso so far. I'm just going to quickly make this one cyan as well, because this is my controller here. I probably should have renamed that a better name. I think if I rename it now it's going to break it as well. Hang on. If I call this controller, leg controller F. Yeah, I thought it would do it. Okay, so basically it writes expressions, and by changing that name it no longer works, so I've probably broken everything. I don't know if I can just press Command Z. No, I've well and truly broke this. Okay, so yeah guys, naming's important. If you want an easier layout, you need to make sure you've named everything quickly. I'm going to pause the video here quickly and I'll fix this and then resume in a bit. Hey guys, I'm back. Yeah, so basically I've just quickly fixed that because obviously I had that naming issue. So what I've done now is just redid exactly what I did. So to save you time, I thought I'd just turn the recording off and sort this out. So basically, yeah, we've got a nice layer system naming going on, so we can easily find the controller layer, and then we know that if we move this, everything's going to be attached. As you can see, when you pull it back here, you get some sort of like overlapping. That's when you need to start using the rotations on the foot, along with you have to adjust the positions as well to make sure it's nicely set on the end. But other than that, this is a pretty solid rig. I'm going to run through the other leg with you real quick again, just so it cements this idea of how to rig it in your mind. So we'll go to the back leg now, which is this one and this one. Again, we're going to solo these layers. And here there's an issue with my layering actually, because we want the shoe to be on top of the leg, so you get this nice feel to it instead of the horrible overlaps we had going on there. So again, we're going to just put a couple of pins, one at the hip, one at the knee, and one at the shin. In the mesh, we're going to go to the deform, select the puppet pins, holding shift, and make some bones. So if we quickly name these bones, so this one's going to be hip B this time because it's behind. This is knee B. I've got a thing for pressing double N's instead of E's. And shin B. Now if I bring these back to the right position, they're going to be here. Again, then we'll make the controller now. So we're going to select the shin and click controllers. And let's just jump to the top, which is rather annoying. We'll put this here, so it's at the top of the layer. And we'll call this one leg controller B. There we go. So selecting all your layers you have to start from the shin upwards, by the way, that's very important. So if you do that, then we're going to go ahead and quickly make the IK, sorry. First select the bone of the end. Oh, sorry, yep, I have not parented my layers. So, yep, we need to parent that to the knee to the hip. Now, if we select them, click IK, done. So now, the controller, if we move this one, we've got that lovely bend in the knee, which is what we're after. Now we're going to quickly select. We'll just quickly make all of these. Let's go for pink. Lovely. Lock the artwork layer for the leg. Shy that one. If I turn my shy layers on, because I turned them off just now. Now finally we're going to just quickly do the shoe here. Zoom in on this so we can see what's going on. One in the ankle, one in the base, one in the toes. Go to the mesh, deform, select your pins and make some bones. Quickly name this, so this is going to be ankle B, base B, and foot B. Now we're just going to quickly bring these down to the pink layers. We'll chuck them underneath the shin so it makes sense. And we'll make these pink. And then quickly we'll link the ankle to the shin, the base to the ankle, and the foot to the base. So now if we come to the leg controller, zoom out so we can see, we should get the nice bend in the knee and the ankle is attached to the foot, which is awesome. Right, actually we need to unshy these layers quickly, and we need to unshy the artwork layer, unshy all those, and finally unshy the shoe. We'll quickly lock the shoe layer, turn it to a shy layer, and shy everything again. Oh, finally as well, we need to make the hip link to the hips. Did I do that on the other layer? I did not, so let's quickly link that to the hips too. So now, if I quickly show you guys, if I move these hips, we get this lovely bend in motion with the knees, and the feet are nice and anchored to the floor. This is really cool. I like this rig a lot. Look at that. Anyway, it's Command Z, so he's back to normal. The arms are a little bit different. What I did with the arms, because I mentioned in After Effects, Illustrator, get your words out. In Illustrator, I mentioned these little circles for the hands. So if we start with the first one, what we'll do is if we right click on the layer, you've got create shapes and vector layers. What this does is it gives us the individual shapes inside of the layers. So I mentioned we had this circle. So this is going to be the key for pivoting nice rotations for the hand. So what we're going to do is zoom right in on this circle. And when we select group 1, which happens to be the circle layer, you get the anchor point for the center of that layer. So what we want to do is when we plot our pins, we want to make sure the pins are bang in the center. So if you go to View, Rulers, Show Rulers, how do you see that? Show Rulers, there we go, or Command R is the shortcut which I usually use. You can then drag down here a ruler and you can put it perfectly on the little anchor nodes. So not quite, there we have it, that's centered. And then if you go to View, you can lock your guides, so then we're not going to mess them up. That's all I needed for the vector shapes, so I can actually just delete those again, because it makes copy, and just turn this layer back on. So what we're going to do now is if we select the hand layer, you've got the anchor point. If you come to this tool here, the pan behind tool, you can select the anchor point and it will snap to the center, which we just plotted with our rulers. And then what we're going to do now when we plot the pins in the arm, if I solo the arm layer, we're going to start from the shoulders. So we'll plot a shoulder here, an elbow roughly halfway, and if we zoom right in again, if we chuck it as close to that center point as possible, so that should be nice. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So then we'll go to the mesh, deform, select your pins, bones. Similar process to what we just did. We're going to name these, so this is going to be shoulder F because this is at the front, elbow F at the front again, and finally I'm going to call this wrist F. And we'll quickly just reorder these layers. We'll go for a nice blue this time. Let's quickly make the hand blue as well. Blue, 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 blue. There we go. So yeah, now if we turn that layer on as well, solo it, sorry. We'll quickly make the wrist link up to the elbow link up to the shoulder. On the wrist, we'll come and make a controller, which we'll color blue as well. And we'll quickly rename this to, what should we call this? We'll call this hand controller F. We'll put this right to the top because this is our master controller. So what we're going to do now is select from the wrist upwards to the controller, click IK, yeah, I clicked on IK, that's cool. Click OK, and what this does now is it's hard to explain. It's the way the bone bends. So obviously our bone is bent the wrong way here. So if you select the controller layer, and if you go to your effects panel, these are all the little expressions that drive this rig. And what we're looking for is the IK checkbox. And what this does is this is the way the hand bends. So if I select the controller now, you can see it's bending as if that's the elbow. But obviously we drew our artwork the other way around. So if we check that, that's the elbow the way we need the elbow, and it should move. I don't know why that hasn't worked. That's weird. That works there. Untick that. No dice. That's very strange. It's always when you're recording things and showing people how to do things that it doesn't work. That should work. Okay, very strange. I'm gonna show you how to do this again. So what we'll do, that's very odd. We'll delete all that and it's gonna come up with all this nonsense that our expression no longer works, which is dandy. Just click OK for this, and just to make sure we've sorted this out properly, if you hit E on the hand layer, you can select your puppet, delete that altogether. Apologies for this, I'm not really sure why that didn't work. Anyways, we're going to go back to our Duik tag, quickly rig this up again. So we want to put one here for the shoulder, elbow, and right bang in that wrist. Nice. Quickly go to our deform, puppets, make some bones. Quickly name this shoulder F, wrist F. This is the wrist F that has screwed shit up. Back this Command Z quickly. Elbow F and wrist F. So let's quickly reorder these. So the wrist links to the elbow to the shoulder. We'll make a controller, and we'll just call this arm controller F. Alright, select all these quickly. Make IK. Alright, it's done that same thing because naturally it goes the wrong way. On here, quickly go to our panels and uncheck that checkbox, and that should work. I'm gonna quickly pause the video again and figure out why this isn't working. Hey guys, so I'm back again. I just realized I was being an absolute moron. What I showed you was correct, and I was just being really silly. It's like almost 10 o'clock here on a Friday night. I've had a long day at work and I'm just a bit drained. Anyways, what I was doing is hand controller. I was clicking this checkbox for IKFK, which basically turns it off, which is not what we want. We want to check the orientation, so let's change the position of the elbow. So now it bends like what we're after. And I just wasted quite a lot of your time and paused the video and wasted even more of my time trying to figure that out. But hey ho, this stuff happens in MoGraph, which is all learning curves and all a load of fun, right? Anyways, so if we go back to where I was, what we're going to do now is basically, if I turn my hand back on, because we've set the rotation point of the hand, the anchor point, sorry, at the rotation point of the wrist, what we're going to do now is just parent the hands to the wrist. I'm going to move the hierarchy quickly so it's underneath, so it's nice and easy to see. We'll make all these blue, and we'll lock the arm and shy that layer. So now we've got our layers. So if we select our controller now, the wrist follows quite nicely, which is lovely. So then what we can do now is we rotate the hand like that, and then with the rotation properties of the hand, we can just adjust the wrist to how we want it. So if you wanted a nice weird flick, you got it, and then you can move the hand. So what this basically does is it gives you nice control in the arms. You can bend the elbow as you would. You can even apply stretch, and you've still got the hand nice and preserved, and you can swing it as much as you want. So quickly, if we undo to get it back where we want, unshy all the layers, the artwork layer is still solid. Shy that again. Sorry, solo, not shy. I'm terrible with words today. So now what we want to do is if we select our shoulder, we're going to pair it to the shoulder of the torso, so the master shoulders, which is layer 18. You can do this as well if you know what layer it is. If you select here, it gives you all your layers, but sometimes it's easier just to see it. Anyway, it's by doing that, now if we move the shoulders, voila, we get the arm moving with this, which is cool. So now you're starting to see how this all rigs together. I'm quickly going to rearrange my head so it's underneath the torso, which is here. Again, because we made a pre-comp of this, we need to adjust the the anchor position. So obviously the neck is around here, so we want the head to be rotating here. So if we rotate our head, we get this. Again, what I actually did do on here is if I unlock the torso, if I create the vector layers, you can see we've got this circle again, which we actually have on the head layer as well, but that doesn't matter. So if you come into the circle contents, you want to find the group which is just that circle, this one here. So then we'll zoom in on this, and I can't see because I've zoomed too far. Hang on. Here's our circle. There's the anchor point we want. We're going to drop some rulers on the anchor point again. Like that. We can delete the torso layer because we don't need it, and we've pinned our other torso layer, so we'll lock that again. So what that's done now is give us the perfect rotation for the neck. So if we go to the head with the pan behind tool, drop it there. Now if we rotate, that's a lot better. Obviously the head rotation, you wouldn't want to do it too far, but that works really nice. And then we can link the heads to our shoulders. So whenever our shoulders move, the arm will follow, the head will follow. And now you're starting to see how this works, which is awesome. The reason I made the collar here on its own layer is so we can pair it to the shoulders, and we can kind of use this little shape layer here to hide any overlaps we get between the neck and the arm layers, which is just a design preference. I prefer not to have any overlaps, and I could use that collar to hide any mistakes that you would see. It saves a lot of time basically. So now if we move the shoulders, that collar comes with. Obviously we need to do some individual frame by frame work on the collar every now and again just to make sure it's in line, but this is looking nice. I'll run through the arm again with you because I messed that up royally, and that's not very good for a tutorial. If you guys really hate this, I might re-record it and try not to have so many bloody mistakes in it. But anyway, let's go to arm B and hand B. We're going to solo these layers, and we'll go through the process again to prove that this is an easy process and I'm just an idiot. So we're going to pin the shoulder, pin the elbow. We need to find the wrist. Jesus, wake up. I should have recorded this tomorrow morning. That would have been a better idea. I'll bear that in mind next time. Don't do things late on a Friday night. I should be sat having a beer right now. Oh, where are you? Is that because... That's because I'm in my puppet tool. Alright, so deselect your puppet tool because you don't get any of your shape properties. Right, I'm in my circle here, zooming in on this. My zoom's going weird. We're going to drop some rulers in the center point here, like so. And then we're going to just quickly delete that layer because we don't need it. I'm going to bring the hand back to life in a solo layer. And then if we select our puppet tool again, we've got the shoulder and elbow, and now we've got the center point for the wrist, which is there. This is getting confusing, there's too many lines. I should have deleted the other one. I think it's that one, but that's fine. It's just like you guys will do it properly. I'm just showing you the process. I'm doing a fucking awful job of it, but hopefully you're learning. If not, I'll record a more clearer tutorial if there's requests for that. If you guys honestly do want that, I'm happy to spend a couple of hours and try and get this tutorial right, because as I said, this is my first ever tutorial, and so far this isn't going massively well. Anyways, we've selected our pins. Go to Duik. We're going to make some bones out of these guys. I'm going to come to the top. Here we go. This one is wrist B because it's behind, and this is elbow B. And finally, shoulder B. So then we're going to link the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder. With the wrist, we're going to come ahead and make a controller. Just quickly rename this hand controller B. And then we're going to select from the wrist upwards, make our IK, OK. This one's actually probably bending the way we want it to, kind of, but for the sake of the video, we're going to come here and check the orientation. Now we haven't broke it, and that works lovely. The last thing we need to do is move these down to the arm, get them in a nice position. Finally, we're going to give these some sort of horrible color. What can we go for? Let's go for green. Lovely. And then we need to actually, let's get rid of, if we unlock our guides, get rid of this one. Now we've got the area there. With the hand, we just need to move the anchor point using the pan behind tool to here. Link this to the wrist. Then we're going to lock the hand out, the arm artwork, so we don't affect that. Close that. Now if we zoom out, unshy our layers. I've locked it again without unsoloing it. Unsolo our layers. Awesome. Now with our hand controller, we can move this. The hand is nice and attached, and we can apply with our hand. If we open the rotation properties, then we've got a nice rotation, which is really cool. I'm psyched about this rig anyways. You guys probably think it's not that good, but hey, I've had a lot of fun with this rig this week. It's been really good. Right, finally we just need to go to the shoulder, link that to shoulder, which is layer 18 I believe. It's 17 now because we've added more layers. So now if we move our shoulders, we've got loads of lines going on here. Quickly, let's hide the rulers and hide the guides. Hide the guide, clear guides, that'll do. So now we've got this guy. Open up a position, we can make him go up and down, the arms will be moving back and forth. That's all cool stuff. Now we can move the hips, all this moves with it. You can grab the spine here, move this, make some lazy curves, do some cool stuff with it. Yeah, I'm really psyched about this. So then if you would start to begin a walk cycle, you can just literally, you have maybe, I don't know, what, 2 layers for the hands and legs, so that's 8. You've got a few parameters to control anyways, but it's quite manageable. Oh yeah, really quick as well. As we parented everything, pre-composed the head, all your head layers are in here. So you can turn the eyelid on and off to make them blink. You can move these features around to animate the facial expressions. So yeah, anyways guys, that's my character rig, and I'll show you the GIF one more time. So this is just me moving the controllers, rotating the hands, making individual bends in the toes so you get the nice squashes in between the ups and the downs and the contact positions. So yeah, there we have it guys, that was my little character rig I did for you there. I'm going to be trying to do some sort of series on YouTube. I mean, there's plenty of them out there. Check out maybe Mount Mograph, for example. His is incredible. He's got so much stuff on there, all really good stuff. But yeah, I'm going to try to build my own channel. I'm not really competing with anyone. I'm just, when I first started out, I learned a lot from pretty much YouTube and awesome motion designers putting their stuff out there for free, which basically trained me up to have my job that I do every day, and I fucking love my job. So if I can do the same and hopefully inspire some of you guys to pick up some tricks and want to do motion design for a career, then I'm all up for that. So yeah, I've got some ideas of some other tutorials I wanted to do because I've had some requests from people who've seen my recent work. In particular, I did some collaboration work with Studio JQ from here in Bristol. We did some cool little like line illustrations, and we animated like planes, balloons, and submarines and stuff like that. It's a really fun project, and quite a lot of people on Dribble were interested in figuring out how I did that. So yeah, I'm planning on making a series of maybe a few of those illustrations and a few other little bits here and there. If anyone's got any suggestions that they want for a tutorial, then drop me a comment. I'll happily figure out an action plan of getting that done, and yeah, I'm keen to make some videos. So yeah, guys, if you liked the video today, if you can subscribe to my channel, if you could sort of leave some nice comments or hate comments, either way, criticism's always appreciated. Share it on Twitter, share it with your friends, anything like that. It's all good. Help to spread the word, and hopefully you guys can learn some cool stuff from me. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for tonight, guys. I'll see you guys soon.